Hello, it's Ren of Taurus Rising, back with you again for our weekly wellness tarot reading. And we just had the full moon in Pisces, so hope you all fared well through that. Today we are continuing our Fool's Journey series. And so we've been through the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess, and now this week we are focusing on the Empress. So as we have been doing, what we're doing is kind of learning about the energy of each major arcana card and going through the Fool's Journey, and then asking how we can use the energy of this card or where we need the energy of this card in our lives. So just a reminder, the Fool's Journey is a journey through the major arcana cards, which start with the Fool and then go through to the World. So going through all of those major arcana cards and finding those sort of universal experiences that we all go through in life. So it's a metaphor. The Fool going through their journey and learning things along the way. Sort of a metaphor for all of the journeys that we all go through. So the Fool goes along and has met the Magician, where the Magician is about sort of the conscious mind and taking action in the physical plane. The High Priestess is more about the unconscious, the unseen, maybe even the divine. So the Fool gets to know that part of the experience of life, of the unknown, the unconscious. And now we are going to the Empress. So the Empress is all about sort of like almost like the luxury, the experience, the natural world. So the abundance of nature, as you can see here, it's like a very like motherly, feminine energy, and it's sort of associated with Venus. There's the sign of Venus right there. Also earth signs, especially Taurus. So the Empress is all about just the beauty of the natural world, but also just the physical plane. So that includes nature, but also I think enjoying the things in this earthly plane, like more material things and senses, sensual, like enjoying things that you can experience with your senses. So that's the energy of this card. I personally resonate with this card because of Taurus rising. Like whenever I see this card, it makes me think, okay, something to do with Taurus rising, because it's about earth signs and especially Taurus and kind of beauty and things like that. So that's the energy of this card, is just the beauty of the natural world / just the material plane. So, and then just a reminder, this card is from the Radiant Rider Waite deck. So I'm using this card from that deck just to show y'all, but I'm going to be using a different deck, the Ethereal Visions, for the actual reading. So the question is, where do I need Empress energy in my life? Or what can I learn from Empress energy? So sort of a multi-pronged question here. What can I learn, or where do I need the Empress energy in my life? And just naming that this is a collective reading, not an individual reading. So it may not all resonate. And we're going to just start with one card as we've been doing, and then maybe adding another card as we go. All right. And now it's time to pull the card. And I've got this guy. So here we have another reverse card. It seems like I keep on pulling reverse cards. Last week we had some reverse cards. This is the Three of Wands. So at face value, we've got a person kind of in this like robe and looking over a cliff, over some water, and holding onto a wand. So wands are affiliated with fire sign, and also fire, I guess, the element of fire, but also you can think of also fire signs, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. But yeah, so just fiery energy, fire the wands also represent sort of passion, manifestation, so drive, like sort of passion and drive. Whereas water or cups are water, that's, emotions, like more watery, flowy. Swords are air, so more like thoughts, ideas. Pentacles are earth. Wands are about sort of passion, drive, motivation. Almost, it's not as tangible. And 3 is almost like more putting things into action, where 1 is an idea, 2 is making plans, 3 is action. So putting your passion, your idea into action. And it's reversed. So when a card is reversed, there's some maybe hesitancy, procrastination. That's one meaning of the reverse cards. That's what I'm getting here. And at face value, like we've got this person looking over kind of a cliff, looking at water. It makes me think of the idea of like jumping off a cliff, like meaning like when you just need to like take an action, like to move something forward. So the energy I'm getting this card is like there's a passion, following your passion, taking action. Whereas right now there's maybe some resistance to taking action because it's reversed. So where does the Empress run into this? So how can we apply the Empress energy to this card? This card to me is representing maybe some motivation and some passion, maybe some projects, some things that you're really trying to do. Maybe it's like a side hustle. Maybe it's just like a hobby or something that like a passion project. Or maybe even school. It's like moving forward on some sort of thing that you're passionate about. That maybe isn't like your main jam yet. Like maybe it's side hustle or like some sort of program of learning that you really want to engage in, but you're dragging your heels on it because maybe you don't feel ready, or maybe there's some barriers, or maybe there are no barriers, you just haven't done it because you're afraid. So that's that. It's like sort of there's a passion project, there's some sort of thing you want to do that you're not taking action on. Maybe you're at a standstill, maybe you've taken some action, but you're just sort of you've plateaued. Either way, action is, there's stagnation around this passion project or thing. And where can you pull the Empress energy into it? I think just on face value, sort of because the Empress is about nature, especially if you can see she is hanging out in amongst some trees and just being. Perhaps you might even say just meditating, taking a pause. That's what I'm seeing here. So it sounds like maybe some need for time in nature, some time for clarity. I get lots of clarity when I'm out in nature, and just being out there, it gets me out of the rat race of what's going on, where I could just try to procrastinate or just keep myself busy. So that's one way that I'm getting this. It's like sort of enjoying the abundance of nature, the natural beauty. So that's one thing I'm getting out of this is, okay, how can we move forward on these passion projects that you're stalling on? Well, like just simply taking some time for clarity and going in nature. But also when I think of the Empress, I think of just practicality, because it's affiliated with the material plane, and Taurus, which is an earth sign, which is very much a practical sign. So just taking some practical steps. So far we've got a couple of things: time in nature for clarity, learning from nature, and also just like taking practical steps towards whatever this thing is. Maybe it's just writing some things down, making a plan. Also, because the Empress is like sort of a motherly figure, it might even be as simple as talking things out with mom, or some sort of motherly kind of figure who has some wisdom and life experience. And that could also be from yourself, like when needing that nurturing. Because sometimes when you stall on something or you procrastinate, it can be easy to get down on yourself, right? Like you could, I should have been doing, I'm lazy. You know, you might have some negative cognitions or negative beliefs around yourself that are coming up because you're stalling. And so just this also may be an invitation to be kind and gentle and compassionate and nurturing towards yourself in light of your procrastination around whatever project it is that you're working on. So to recap, the Empress is about the material plane, also practicality, but also nurturing. So perhaps in this area of your life, which is maybe procrastination on some sort of passion, hobby, something that you want to move forward on, but you just haven't been able to move forward on, we're needing some just practical action, nurturing, and maybe just some time in nature, because maybe you've been in the rat race and always busy, and you just need a palate cleanser, and nature is good for that. So hopefully that was helpful. We have time to pull another card just to see what else we need to know. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to do the thing where I put the cards back together and pull the card underneath. What else do we need to know today about maybe getting this passion project off the ground? Oh, I got the King of Pentacles. I feel like this one keeps showing up. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I feel like that we've had this card at least in the last month. Interesting, because the Pentacles are also Earth. Like the Empress is related to Earth signs, like especially Taurus. And then with the King, I think, okay, masculine energy, which to me, masculine is like action, like doing. So what I'm hearing is like, it's time for some small action. So in this passion project, we need to bring practicality. Sometimes practicality is just time in nature, like just take rest and regrouping. So there needs to be some sort of practicality, but also maybe just getting one sort of thing done. Taking action. Is it just like sitting down to write some things out? Just some sort of action towards this thing that has been looming and lingering that you've been procrastinating. No judgment on the procrastination. We all do it, right? Sometimes life's overwhelming, and sometimes you got to keep it simple. And it's those passion projects that bring sparkle to your life. And so this reading, I think, is an invitation to, spend time on that passion thing, even if it's just a little bit. I'm going to quote the great Betty Rocker. She says, all or something, not all or nothing. And I really like that. She talks about how you can, if you don't have a lot of time to work out, well, if you have like 5 minutes, then do that. But I really like that philosophy of all or something, that you can apply to every area of your life. Like maybe you don't have tons of time to devote to that thing, but do you have 5 minutes where you can think about it or make a plan or do some research or practice, if it's a skill or something that you're trying to get a hold of. So this is an invitation to just do something towards it. And it feels good on the other side of doing that action towards something that you really want to make happen. All right, so this concludes our weekly wellness tarot reading. I hope that maybe you're feeling a little motivated and inspired to tackle that passion project. And next week, we're going to continue our Fool's Journey series. And with the Emperor, that'll be the card. So spoiler there. That's our next card. And I also invite you, if you want an individual reading or to learn more about me, you can go to my website, taurusrising.com, or check me out on Instagram. Either way, I will see y'all next week for our weekly wellness tarot reading. Bye.